It's Deborah here, and I want to talk to you about a very important product, Gesso. What do I want to say about it is there are several brands on the market, and some of them are taking different form. Years ago, Gesso used to come in, it is a ground polymer. It is a paste substance, and it's designed to cover your canvas, go over a surface and fill in the fine cracks and maybe lines that you may have. But it actually provides a smoother, it provides a surface for your paint to grab onto. So we'll call it a tooth. It's got a tooth to it once it's dry. And it's essential when you're doing really nice paintings. So I wanted to bring attention to the fact that there are several forms of gesso. It's all the same, I think, but it's starting to look different. Gesso is coming like this in a bottle. Gesso, here's another bottle, lower grade. Gesso is coming in a squeeze tube. It is also coming in a spray can, which I don't have. But the original way was a tub, big wide mouth tub. It would either come in a gallon or 2 gallon. Right now they're making it in these very small quart size, and they run about $10 at the art store. I personally, my favorite gesso is Blick gesso. I have used this. And I want to show you. The paste comes out very thick. It's white. It doesn't spill. It doesn't drip. But this Liquitex gesso, when it comes out very thin, almost runny, and it will drip eventually. This one does the same thing. You want to put it onto the canvas that you're working with. Oh gosh. Okay. So it's a little thicker coming out. This one definitely is thin and runny. I'm not exactly sure why. I ran to the art store some time ago looking for my regular container, and they were out. So they introduced this. They said this was new. I said, okay, let's do it. I have to cover many, many canvases. And I have to tell you, I wasn't impressed at all with the turnout. I couldn't see or feel. You don't really see a tooth, but you can feel it. And for whatever reason, this felt very synthetic to me. It felt plasticky. So I came across this. This is Deco Art Americana. It's a premium gesso. I thought, okay, let me try it. I'll buy 2 tubes, even though I've never seen it in a tube. And to be very honest with you, it's not bad. It's not bad. This would be it here. It's got that pull to it, which typical gessos have. Then we've got this latex gesso, which is really thin and really loose. We'll call it loose. But when it dries, it doesn't feel true to form. It does not feel like a ground polymer. It feels plasticky, I have to admit. And then we've got Latex Basics Acrylic Gesso. I got this at Michael's. This was really inexpensive, like $8. This was $12. The kind that comes in a tub is actually about $10, unless they've gone up. This was $2, not a bad price. But let's get this on here. This is your gesso basic. And I kind of felt, because it said basic, it kind of gave me that, yeah, see, it's not, it doesn't have the pull that I kind of like. When we're gessoing a surface, and you can put it right on top of this canvas, and definitely gesso makes a difference on your canvas. When you're buying canvases, you don't know how long they've sat. I don't care if they're those cheap ones. Really, for sure, you should gesso the cheap ones. But if they're coming under plastic from your art store, they may have been there a very long time. So the gesso that was applied when the canvas was manufactured has dried to a crisp and really doesn't serve its purpose to me anymore. So I like to give everything a fresh coat of gesso. The purpose of that is it uniforms your canvas top. It makes it easier for your paint to grab onto. Your paint will glide, maybe not so much like butter, but it will, depending on the paint you're using, but it will definitely allow you to apply it to that canvas, pigment and all. So I gesso everything. Anything definitely I do personally for myself, I gesso. And anything that I'm going to give to somebody else, like a paint party or a class, I'll have all those canvases pre-gessoed for them. Because if you're a beginner and you don't know how to apply a generous amount of paint to your canvas, it won't stick without good gesso. It'll just, as it is, a beginner will sort of screech across the canvas because they're not exactly sure what their pressure is yet. So that's my 2 cents, I guess, on gesso. The best gesso is Blick Art Store. You get your bang for your buck. You get gesso on a canvas with a tooth, with that ground polymer feeling, and it adheres well, it dries well, and allows you to actually paint with ease. What I've noticed with some of these, once these have dried 24 hours on your canvas, for some weird reason, certain spots get reactivated even 24 hours later. The gesso will kick up through the paint, and then that person is boring a hole. I remember that distinctly. The person was boring a hole through their paint section because that gesso was waking up, if you will, was no longer dry. And it was like applying fresh gesso and paint. So I had to have that person leave that area completely, start over here, let this dry. We had to fan it so that she can go back and cover it properly. Gesso covers almost any surface, all surfaces. It definitely covers wood. It definitely will cover cardboard. It'll cover paper. It will cover your canvas, which is a linen material. During these times when we cannot find canvas, you can gesso pretty much anything and paint on it. Cereal boxes, the backs of them, they're very usable. You can take any type of cardboard box, cut it into a square that you want to paint, gesso that corner to corner, let it dry, and you'll have yourself a makeshift canvas. Now remember, Van Gogh painted on a lot of cardboard in his day. He didn't always have access to canvas. And panel, definitely wood panel. These are paper plates. These are the very most inexpensive paper plates that you find. And I like to use these as my palette, hence the name Paper Palette Studio. But what I do is when I don't want to go through 1,000 when I don't want to go through 1,000 canvases and I'm trying to do some prototypes or I'm doing samples, I will do them right on top of paper plates, and they'll come out perfect, and they'll be my samples. and they're easy to move around the room. They're easy to hang up. So I brought up some examples of what I'm talking about, painting right on a paper plate. A sunrise. I did this on canvas originally, but these are actually just samples that I did for the students, and I passed them around. They're easy for them to look at. These are just regular paper plates that you use. You can draw on them. You could paint on them. Their surface is the perfect surface for an impromptu painting that you might need. So just remember, you can paint on anything. I also paint on drawing paper. This is regular drawing paper. It's not computer paper, but this drawing paper is sort of heavyweight. I take it, I gesso it, I cut what I need, and once it's dry, I'm able to go in and create the painting that I need without having to go through a whole canvas. Because as it is, we've got canvases starting to stack up. A lot of them are not used. We're sending them out. But the ones that we use for templates, I like to do just one on canvas to make sure that, you know, we know what it's going to look like. But the rest, when I have to do for samples, and they're easy to carry, I'll just do them on this, and they work just fine. Again, cardboard, paper plate, back of a cereal box, drawing paper, heavy grade drawing paper. Make sure you gesso it. Buy yourself some gesso, $10 at the art store. That is the best. Get yourself a chip brush. I didn't express how nice it is to do just your regular dollar chip brushes from Home Depot. This is easy. A lot of times you'll lose your hair on it, but you can pull them out while this is wet. I've used this so much the hair stopped falling out, so I know that this is my brush, and this brush just takes it, I wash it, I rinse it, I let it dry. It's a natural bristle brush. I don't use anything else. You can use the 2-inch, the 1-inch, the 3/4 inch, whatever you're doing, but this is my favorite to use for gesso. And that's about it. That's what I have to say about gesso. I know that it's taking different forms. I've never used the one that you spray out of a can. I can't even imagine that once you use it one time, it wouldn't get clogged up, but I don't know. I haven't tried it. Also, these guys here, they're okay. They work. This one here works fantastic as a white. Okay, if you were to use this as white paint instead of actually using titanium white, this spreads. This is a Liquitex. I don't know if this would work as well as white. I guess it would. They dry equally the same. They don't crack your paint. It won't crack your paint when it dries, like some other weird mediums might do when you mix it. I mix this for lighter values of my paint, and I think it's fantastic. It spreads. I love the flexibility within the two colors, white and whatever I'm using. It's nice. It's just a different receiver. I don't know how to express it. It's just different. It's not like using titanium white out of a tube, like what I've got here. This titanium white is heavy body. This obviously is liquid. It's a little runnier, so it mixes really nicely. So again, that's what I have to say about gesso. You guys try them. Do your best with them. Come paint with me. Pick any form that you want to paint on. Right now, we're just grabbing anything. We can't get out. We can't find canvases. We can't We can't have the perfect stuff. Pick what you would like. Have a great day.